Coming up today, we got stocks itching to all-time highs. We got Nvidia with non-stop gains. What's pushing it, and is it going to continue? We have the dollar making new lows day by day. President Trump already has 3 or 4 candidates to replace Jerome. And way more with the stock market today. There's some key stocks that move, like Nvidia, AMD, a lot of chip stocks moving to the upside, holding the S&P 500 up. And we have stocks like Tesla down almost 4%, Walmart red. I think almost 63% of the stock market closed down into the red today. But we're still pushing up near all-time highs, and market is just keep on pushing. With that being said, man, keep in mind we have a lot of FOMO people coming in. They're going to be buying at all-time highs. That's how it normally happens. People feel safer and people want to get into this gold rush, basically. So keep that in mind overall. We can keep on pushing and or we have a pullback. Today, we kind of seen a little bit more of, people taking profit, going down a little bit. So I really am hyped to see how the market reacts tomorrow. If we continue pushing up and or have a bigger sell, fill some gaps downwards. Honestly, it is all unknown right now. But we also see oil pushing to the downside even more. We did have a rally to the upside for oil overall, but honestly, still pushing, making new lows. So keep oil to the downside and keep that on your radar overall. But we do have a record close for Nvidia, pushing past all-time highs. Honestly, bro, I think Nvidia could get up to that 160 level. And we don't even have any sell walls until the 160 level. So do expect some resistance at that 160 level, maybe a little bit of bounce off, and we might even pass by that as well. Nvidia is pushing and it's pumping. Another thing pumping Nvidia is Loop Capital's lifts Nvidia's target to street high of $250, which is honestly insane. Market cap is already high, bypassed Microsoft. They're basically the biggest company, and with price targets this high, can make it even bigger. Bypass people by the billions to the trillions, honestly. I'm really pumped to see if we can hit that 4 trillion market cap with Nvidia, but honestly, just have your patience with it. But honestly, it's getting a lot of bullish momentum and a lot of great news overall. But not just pumping up Nvidia. We do have some chip stocks pumping up a little bit, but not really. And we do have the VIX selling off to that 16.70 level. But honestly, man, other chip stocks aren't doing too good, but they're still pumping up as well, especially AMD. We've seen basically the same movement with AMD overall buy. But honestly, Nvidia was just insane today. Even when the SPY was kind of selling off, Nvidia only had like 1 or 2 sell-offs today and was still rallying even when other stocks was selling off. For anyone that's trying to take their trading to the next level, made a website with a bunch of courses that you guys can check out. First link in the description below. Check it out if you guys want to up your knowledge on the stock market. Relatively cheap courses, and we have sales going on. So check them out while the sales is still happening. But with that being said, man, let me stop pumping up Nvidia and let's get to some news. So President Trump, he did come out. There was a NATO brief today, and basically what all they talked about. So first off, defense spending pledge. NATO leaders committed to increasing defense spending to 5% of GDP by 2035, with 3.5% for core military and 1.5% for defense-related infrastructures. Trump hailed as a historic achievement, crediting his leadership for pushing allies to meet this target, stating, "We're with them to the end." Despite earlier ambitious remarks suggesting numerous definitions of a clause, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte emphasized absolute clarity on U.S. commitment to Article 5. Ukraine discussions, so they did discuss Ukraine a little bit. Trump met Ukrainian President Zelensky on the sidelines. Zelensky attended a pre-summit dinner but was not invited to the main session, reflecting tensions and Trump's opposition to Ukraine's NATO membership. No new U.S. pledge for Ukraine were announced. Summit focused and tone. The summit was streamlined to avoid disputes, lasting under 24 hours with a short commute. Rutte praised Trump's influence, calling him a man of strength and peace. Trump expressed a little bit different view of NATO, noting leaders' love and passion for their countries. Middle East context discussions were overshadowed by recent U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran and fragile Israel and Iran ceasefire, which Trump referenced but was not formally on the agenda. Some more things with the defense spending pledge. So everybody in NATO did do this defense spending except for Spain. And Trump did announce afterwards that he's basically just going to double the tariffs and make them pay that way. So keep that in mind overall for any companies in Spain that could really kind of affect any businesses there. So keep that in mind overall. Another meeting we had today was Jerome coming out. Second day. We did get the classic Trump versus Jerome too. Trump criticism. So Trump scolded Jerome for not lowering interest rates, arguing it puts the US at an economic disadvantage compared to countries like China. He has publicly and privately pressed for rate cuts to stimulate growth. And honestly, man, they're kind of just waiting and seeing. But with that being said, basically saying that they can cut rates now, and then if inflation does get bad or not by their target, they could just put the rates back to the same place. And with the rates not being cut, the US is losing like 400 to 900 billion dollars a year. So we are losing a lot of money because of this. That's basically, part of the little argument. Jerome's stance. So Jerome emphasized the Federal Reserve's independence, stating monetary policy decisions are based on solely on careful, objective, and non-political analysts. He avoided discussing future rate expectations, stressing decisions depend on economic data like growth, employment, and inflation. Economic decision, the meeting focused on economic developments, including inflation, employment, and growth. But Jerome did not share specifically monetary policy plans. The Fed maintained its benchmark rate of 4.25 to 4.5%. So yeah, that's basically all that happened. There were some questions asked, bringing up housing market and stuff like that, and arguments on, not cutting rates and stuff like that. But honestly, that's about it there. So US stocks rallied today with the S&P 500 getting 1.1% at that close, ending a 3-day losing streak. The Nasdaq rose 1.53%, driven by strong performance in technology stocks. We do have Intel, AMD, Broadcom, TSMC, and NVIDIA all rising a lot. And the volatility index dropped 11.85%. Like I said before, man, the dollar index declined 0.47%. Crude oil prices also fell 5.2% to 67.78 per barrel. So an official ceasefire between Israel and Iran, brokered by Trump, contributed to a risk-on sentiment globally. This led lower oil prices, with Brent settling at its lowest since June 10th, boosting stocks basically. Now let's get to some supports and resistance and some plays to watch. First one on watch is going to be AMD. Is moving up and is moving up pretty strong, just like NVIDIA. But to the upside, look at that 145, 147, and that 150 level. If we could break above that 150, look at 155 to that 160. If we do start selling off, honestly, NVIDIA is going to start selling off as well. But to the downside, look at that 141.5, 140, 135, and that 130 to the downside. We do got some gaps to fill downwards, but honestly, AMD is moving pretty strong. I'm very pumped to see how it moves. Next is going to be SPY overall, and especially NVIDIA is pushing it upwards and other stocks like that. But to the upside, look at that 610 level. If we could break above that 610, honestly, everybody's going to be rallying into it. But after that 610, look at 612.5, 615, and that 620 level for SPY. To the downside, if we do start selling off, look at that 605, 604, 603.5, and that 600 level to the downside. Right now, we're moving pretty strong. A lot of bullish momentum in the stocks overall, and all the bad news kind of just went away. We're overlooking trade, and honestly, we got some trade deals coming out saying that once the bill is passed, we'll get some trade deals with it. We also have, that ceasefire making stocks look even greater, and basically overall, all the news isn't really looking too bad. We did get some data that came out. The housing market wasn't really too strong, but honestly didn't really affect the markets too much. But we do have a little bit of take profit happening, but we did have a little spike up towards the end. So honestly, just depending on how the market opens up tomorrow, we might have another green day and or start going downwards. So honestly, be patient. But honestly, man, let's look at the stock that's moving it all, NVIDIA. So that 155, 156.5, and that 160 level, of course. Past that 160, look at 161.5, 165, and that 170. Honestly, I'm very pumped to see if we can break above that 160. With the way the stock is moving, we could probably break above it tomorrow. So Apple, man, we did break up a little bit like a few days ago. But with that being said, man, we just been in this range between that 203.5 to that 200 level. So if we can break above or below, look for a bigger move up or down. So if we break above that 203.5, look at that 204.5, 205, and that 210 level. We break below the 200, look at 199.5, 198.5, and that 195 level for Apple overall. Palantir, man, Palantir, we did have a big break and honestly just a big movement yesterday, but sold off quickly after that, making some new lows. With that being said, look at that 143.5, 144.5, 145, and that 150 level next. But if we start breaking down, if we break below that 142 level, look at it to the downside even more. And look at that 141, 140, 139.5, and that 135 level for Palantir. Honestly, take your time with this one because honestly, we kind of that sell-off yesterday was wild. But honestly, we can fill some gaps back up to where we were at yesterday and or fill some gaps downwards all the way down to like that 138.5 level and bounce around this range. So please have your patience. Bitcoin, man, Bitcoin's been moving pretty strong. And honestly, after that wartime, man, you would have made a lot of money I know some people that got some IBIT plays. If you guys know what IBIT is, basically an ETF that moves exactly with Bitcoin. Pretty cheap option plays. Get them 2 to 3 weeks out, and you should profit a lot. Especially if Bitcoin gets down to some key levels like 100K and or that 103K. Normally it rebounds back up to that 107 that we're at. And or if you get up to some highs and we don't break any highs like we've seen previously, like that 61 level for IBIT, but honestly like that 108 to 110 level, and sometimes it sells off and you can make a decent amount of money to the downside. Plays both ways, and I do recommend getting into IBIT. I feel like it's a sponsorship. But other stocks to look at, of course, MSTR moves exactly with Bitcoin. Coinbase as well got some hype recently, and honestly, just been moving pretty strong. You can make a decent amount of money off Coinbase as well. But with that being said, man, that is your market for today, and honestly, some news for the rest of the week and what to watch. With that being said, man, smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Check out the website if you guys want to get some courses or daily blogs, get some news early, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. I'm also coming out with daily blogs to update you guys with the stock market before I even make these videos. So if you guys want early news, early stock plays, and things to watch, check out the site as well. This is completely free. Just go into the website, go into Creators Blog. You guys can check it out if you guys want.